Okay, I'm back.
All right, Internet. We're here with another game of Wrath and Glory. Particularly, this is what the hell's the name of this game? Something to do with the Blood Dragons? I don't know.
Wrath and Glory?
Well, Wrath and Glory is the system, yes, but I don't remember what the actual
Angels
game.
of Death, man.
Angels
Oh
of
yeah.
Death.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
That's right. Sorry.
Lock
Um,
in.
so this is chapter 4 of Angels of Death, which I've been schooled. And I'm gonna read some stuff. Let me show that to everyone. Everybody see that? No? Yes?
Yes, Chapter 4,
Why
Respite.
didn't I see it? There we go. Chapter 4, Respite. It was a hard-won battle. The heretics' heavy armaments were overcome by strength of will, strategy, and the God Emperor's judgment. Sanguinius's might has served you well this day. Even as your wounds stitch together and partially heal, even Astartes require time to fully return to full health. Luckily, the loyalist guard captain, Leonis, knows a place that might serve. While Captain Leonis oversees the salvage operation, Sergeant Genethus leads the Adeptus Astartes to a warehouse the guard has been using as a makeshift hospital. So, this is what I want. Yes. Bear with me. I gotta fix one thing. Yeah, so you are heading out from the battle site and just walking through the sprawl of Skullhaven. You it's you were told that it's not that far away, within about a half an hour walking, so not very far. Um, as you kind of leave the thoroughfare for the west part of the city, you notice that there's various areas bombed out, destroyed, etc. And you can do some role play as she's leading you to this building and the aftermath of that very violent battle. X, I think you
Um,
wanted to say something.
So Ramael is kind of walking with the sergeant, and there are amber runes, and then there's even a few crimson runes that are like uh, blaring in his heads-up display. Kind of dismisses them with a nod of his head within his skull helm. He knows that he every time he sees heretics in front of him, especially heretics praying or converted to Slanesh, he is taken back to that fateful night and the battle on the ramparts of Eclipsed Heaven. He knows if he doesn't do something about his rage, he is going to put his squad at risk. But he has no means as to how to do it. The desire to retrieve, make up for that lost honor almost overwhelms him. He looks to Artaxian, sees him and his armor just as bloodied as Ramael's. brother.
What is it, Chaplain? Chaplain Ramael, are you okay? What is it?
The last engagement was not ideal. I fear my actions are tactically unsound. I fear my actions have led, well, he kind of points to Artaxian's armor. And Artaxian's armor is Terminator armor. Like, it takes a lot to even dent it, let alone, make it look like the way it is right now.
Have no remorse for your actions. While I would have suggested allowing the Imperial Guardsmen to initiate the battle, drawing the attention away from the heavy weaponry, it falls onto us and our duty to protect them. It was not an easy battle. Rarely do 4 Space Marines go up against armored vehicles in an entrenched armored position, but that is what we were made to do, and we succeeded. So there is no reason to question yourself. You performed admirably, and even in the withering hail of the enemy fire, performed your duty in destroying and disabling one of the heavy weapons that we were then allowed to retrieve and take the fight to them.
Indeed, brother. But there is a rage that burns, that clouds militaristic judgment in times of battle. These heretics have wounded us in ways I cannot explain. They have desecrated our home, the sanctity of our cathedral.
It is a war without end, and even our duty will not end until death. But fear not, for armor can be repaired, bones and flesh can be knitted and healed, and we will again go to seek and destroy our enemy in the long war. But for now, we need to regain this control of this hive in the name of the Emperor and the Imperium. And once we are able to gain a semblance of control or believe that the loyalist forces have the upper hand, we can turn our attention to the archenemy and root them out and destroy them. For that is what we have been tasked to do. Take the fight to those that have betrayed the Emperor's guidance.
Well said, brother.
Tell me, is there any lasting injuries to you? Do you require one of their medics to look at you? Or is it something simply that time is needed?
I'm afraid their Medicaid will know little of Astartes' physiology. Time is the great healer, but we do not have it on our hands. I believe the armor can be repaired. I will heal, given time. But we must plan as to how we can return the city to order. Every engagement could escalate We can't keep going up against battle tanks and heavy artillery. There must be a way.
We will be required to go into the heaviest fighting. I do not expect these broken and loyalist forces to be able to coalesce into something without time and guidance from myself and you. I believe the first thing to do is, now that we have secured the main arterial for the hive, is we start to bring forces together to choke off any routes of advancement and reinforcement of the enemy. We have done so by controlling this highway. Now we can look to the other zones and try and bring some sort of semblance of order or understanding of what we're dealing with, and then we can move forward with what we all believe is the best plan.
That does make sense. Yes. We need more forces.
As much as I would enjoy nothing more than going straight into the district that we believe the Emperor's children have potentially landed in, we can't win that battle at the cost of losing the war of this planet.
As
Agreed.
as Ramael and Artaxian are speaking, what's Varist and Vladrik doing?
Barrist has been looking at he's you can hear him speaking, and he has been activating various sort of controls on a wrist cogitator, and then he's been doing this for some time, and he's also been a mix of speaking and chanting, and then eventually he seems to finish what he's doing, and he looks around at Vladrik, and he seems to have been kind of unaware of what was going on for a while, just kind of walking on autopilot, and he looks up and says, Librarian, I'm pleased to announce that I have been communing with the machine spirit of the tank that we liberated, and despite the amount of heretic blood it was coated with and the amount of time it spent being operated by servants of the warp, the machine spirit is untainted. I have performed a rite of purification and questioned it at length, and I am satisfied that no taint of the warp remains on it.
Roderick had been going through recording the day's events on one of the data slates, and he looks to Varus as he makes his report, and he nods. Well done, Brother Varus. I would expect nothing less. Do fine work, brother.
Well, it is our job to make sure that our gains here are true gains, and that the perfidious forces we face do not undo our work as we move on. There is nothing worse than believing you have cleansed an area and finding that the forces of heresy and damnation have infiltrated it again behind you. I have known brothers be lost to such treachery.
Yes, vigilance is of the utmost importance during reclamation. And he looks out, maybe there's a window or something, and sees the city all torn up. I have a worry, brother, in regards to the fate of this place.
Well, what is that, Brother Chaplain? Brother Librarian.
The forces against us, the heretics, they have made their communion with the great enemy, brought demons to this place. Such taint is not so easily removed once it has stricken noble ground. And I must admit, I have a worry for this place. How deep does this corruption lie? Can it be so easily dug out with the defeat of the enemy here? I don't know. But I do wonder, and there is a growing fear. What cannot be recovered may eventually have to be destroyed.
With respect, brother, I suspect that is not our judgment to make. We are here to face the threat that it can be faced with force of arms. It is for the Inquisition to root out corruption that is more hidden, to determine whether this place is forever damned. I beg you, do not be troubled. We have our job to do, and others will serve the Emperor in their own way. Perhaps this world will need the ultimate sanction of Exterminatus, but that is not for us to judge.
Yes, brother, you are correct. It is not within us to make that decision officially. Perhaps I misspoke.
I think your concerns do you credit, Brother Librarian, if I may be so bold. But I believe that a man can take too much upon himself. Not in terms of stepping beyond his rights, but in terms of taking on a burden that is too much to bear. Am I clear, brother? I'm not good at speaking on these subjects. My thoughts are clear in my own head, but I am not always good at expressing them.
I think I understand your meaning, Brother Varist. I appreciate the sentiment. But when one is confronted with the horrors of the war, and they see what it has wrought on this place, what was once loyal and it has now been fractured, perhaps my mind, having been so old, can see only how it can go more poorly, rather than how we might save this place instead. I've seen much over my time, brother, and this is recalling difficult times.
Perhaps, brother, your experience and what you have felt through the touch of the warp has made you more aware of the depth of corruption on this world than we are. Perhaps we wear blinkers, able to only see what is on the surface, while you see the rot that runs deep. I am inclined to trust your instincts. You have lived much longer than I, though I was born long before you. And you think he must be smiling under his helmet, but it's, of course you can't see.
And yet you have the instincts of one who has lived twice as long. I do not know. To be as in tune with the warp, be close to the danger as I am, perhaps I am more affected by it than I would admit. Not in any sense that I am beyond control, but just to see the veil. But I should not fret so much. There are still good people here to save. They have proven their mettle with us in this last combat, and if they are here and fighting, then this planet is worth continuing to fight for.
Or at least some on it are, brother. Yes. And I thank you for taking on the burden you bear on behalf of all of us. The burden of touching the warp that you may serve the Emperor more fully by harnessing those powers.
Ah, brother, it is a gift that I can give to you all, that I should take that burden. I would not wish it on anyone. I am grateful that I was chosen to bear it.
Varist nods after there's a little bit of a pause, like he's thinking about it, taking it in. And then he nods, and then his head bobs down again, but not on a nod this time so much as in an inclination of the head, almost a little bow. We should perhaps see what brothers Artaxian and Ramael are so deep in conversation about.
And to make sure they are well, they took quite a bit of damage in that last scrimmage.
They
Forces
certainly,
of heretics. Lucky, of course.
our brothers bore the brunt of it. You are right, we should check on them. I have some small talent as a medicae, though not a fully trained one. I should
just so
see if
I maybe kind of missed it. I was saying you guys were going over, you're walking through the city, right? The sergeant, she turns and says, "We're almost there to the warehouse. There's a doctor there. Not sure what he can do for you, but she can't obviously hear what you're saying. I'm assuming all this is going through your Vox.
Yeah.
And she kind of looks up. It's oddly silent for her, besides the distant sounds of bombs and las guns and auto guns firing. And she points around a corner. It should be safe here. We have snipers on that roof and that roof. She points them out. You see them immediately, probably before she even notices or tells you about them. And she goes up to this large, like, kind of roller door. She bangs on it 3 times and says, "Pig's feet," which you assume is some sort of code. And when she says that, it rolls up, and you see inside. Inside, you see a various amount of guardsmen about that appear in various stages of injury. Everyone kind of inclines their head towards you as the door opens, and assuming you step in, the sergeant does. She walks forward and waves. "Doctor, we have special cases perhaps you want to look at." And he has strange augmetics on his eyes, but he kind of leans back, looking up even in the distance at your massive frames.
And Varist will walk over. He opens his Vox link to kind of broadcast to the immediate area, and or even just to kind of like a speaker. And he says, "Doctor, my brothers require treatment. You may not be familiar with Astartes' physiology. Therefore, I am prepared to assist you. I will first of all describe to you the 19 implants that you will find on my brothers. 22 in my case. This will at least enable you to adapt your knowledge to their physiology."
He just looks between all of you and says, what do you require?
Medical aid, Doctor.
He, very well. And, he waves you forward. Find a spot. I can look over your wounds if you have them. He looks to the sergeant. He says, excuse me, I'm a bit confused. I know that the Astartes that landed here started this war. I assume that you are not amongst them.
When did these Astartes land? How long ago?
I do not know for sure, but we heard about their presence several weeks ago, that they were here from the void, had landed. No one knew their purpose. Of course, they went straight to the governor's mansion.
Unknown to you, but most likely known to the governor. They are the enemy of the Imperium. They're those forces that have turned away from the guiding light of the Emperor and embraced the evil.
They sold themselves to the ruinous powers long before you were born, Doctor. The filth of the warp corrupts them through and through. They are nothing like true Astartes.
He
Which
looks
is
at
only kind of true.
he looks at Ramel, particularly with his skull mask, looking a bit nervous. Yes, well,
No, we're the good guys.
yeah, we're the good ones that are crazy. Says, I will do what I can for you, and out of character. So just if 24 hours, you will gain all your wounds, and because I think as Astartes, with your regenerative healing and whatnot, he wouldn't need to make a Medicaid test. You just need to maybe get some stims and just rest for 24 hours in general. But yeah, what are you guys? What are the rest of you doing?
So only the sergeant
I-
is here, or is the captain also here?
The captain is not here. He stayed behind to work on the salvage operation for those tanks and stuff. He sent her to
Okay.
lead you here.
I've got some just basic Medicaid knowledge, so I'll do what I said and
Yep.
assist the doctor. So he's no doubt going to be nervously trying to fix up Artaxian, and Varys will be just calmly saying stuff like, "No, don't do that. That will stop one of his hearts."
Rydrick is gonna take kind of a look around this warehouse, and because he is a bit paranoid about the presence of daemons on the planet and the great enemy and everything else, he's just looking to make sure there's nothing tainted in here. It's more of a cursory sweep, so if you see something that looks like it shouldn't be here, he just a little Psyniscience to make sure.
Yeah, you can roll it. There's nothing that you see. Obviously, this was some sort of warehouse that has a bunch of nondescript containers, crates, barrels, not barrels, but tubes of things, cylinders, various sci-fi stuff. Yeah, there's no sign of any warp activity in here. A lot of it's been retrofitted very quickly with kind of field supplies, medical little almost tents. There's probably about, you guess, 24 soldiers in here in various states of injury. Some are probably going to die soon. Some should be fine over time. You would assume. Um, but yeah, that's what you're seeing.
Uh, before Ramael starts getting worked on, given that he's injured, um, Vladric will go to Ramael. Brother Chaplain, might I ask you something quickly?
Indeed, Brother Radrick.
Though I would not doubt your ability to perform this duty even while wounded, while this doctor is taking a look at the damage, would you permit me to provide some final rites for these loyalist guardsmen that are about to pass, to instill the others with courage?
It is the Emperor's will. I shall do it, and I shall assist you, brother.
Very good, brother. Would you prefer me to wait until the doctor has had a look at you, or shall we get to it beforehand?
Let us get to it now, while the doctor looks at our Taxian.
I will accompany Ramael.
Yeah, you visit one of the soldiers. He's in this small little white tent that is splattered with blood. Inside, you see he is missing both his legs, one below the knee and one more towards the hip. They've been cauterized to stop the bleeding. He has various tubes and nodes stuck into him in various places, monitoring his heart and other organs. His brain activity, you see it kind of on a monitor, as well as his heart. He breathes very slowly, almost as if the last breath he's ever going to take, and then he takes another and another, slowly. And his face is half burnt, pretty much to the bone, exposing skull, and almost if you kind of look at just half his face, you could mistake it for some sort of mask that a chaplain would wear. As Ramael looks into him, it's almost like looking in the mirror. And he lays there, non-responsive to any stimuli.
The chaplain looks at him and, gently closes the guardsman's eyes. He says, "Life is fleeting. We fight not for ourselves, but for the Imperium. There is no salvation. There is only war, and wrath is its useful tool in its prosecution. If we are to fall, let us fall in the service of the Imperium. By blood and by fury, so shall it be. Rest, human. Go to the embrace of the Emperor."
As you say that, it's almost as if he hears you, and his arm slowly almost tries to rise, and you think it closes into a fist as it finally slowly moves back down to his side, and you see the beep of the pulse, and his brain activities go inert, silent forever. another guardsman who stood back as you entered and looked at you in awe. Almost looks for permission to pull the blanket or the sheet over the corpse.
Ramaya looks at that guardsman and gives him a slight nod. And he kind of looks around and sees more of the guardsmen wounded, more of them helping the wounded. There is an air of resignation around. And he makes a note of that, and he nods to himself but doesn't say anything right now. These men need rest. He needs rest. His brothers need rest. The time for words will soon be upon them, but for now, rest.
Yeah, for Artaxian, the doctor looks at in order to gain access to your body, you will need to remove this armor.
I will remove my helmet. The primary point of impact was my neck. Please ensure there are no remaining pellets from the combat shotgun. You cannot hurt me. And with that, he kind of brings up his chain fist and kind of delicately detaches some of the seals. And with a pressurized release, he takes the helmet off, and you can see maybe some dry blood along the side of his neck. And he does his best to kneel, and he looks at him and goes, "You will need some sort of ladder or platform to stand on. I can only kneel so much."
He nods, and some of the guardsmen that were helping him bring like a crate over, basically. Yeah.
He kind of turns his neck. He goes, "You will see where the remaining pellets remain. You may remove it with a scalpel."
Oh, yes, of course. And
You will find that the action of Lariman's organ means you can cut more freely than you could upon a mortal. He will
be
clot
careful
much
in any
faster.
case. I am a doctor of some skill. And he looks, and there is some foreign bodies here, and he starts kind of digging them out. And he kind of, as he's doing it, he says, one of our problems here is quite simply I am running out of resources. We encounter more injured every day. It would be nice to be able to help civilians that are hurt too, but the hospital, St. Victoria's Embrace, I think that's what I called it. Oh no, apothecary, has been damaged. And there is issues in approaching it. There was a gang war over medical supplies there. I hate to ask this of you, but if you could procure some for us from that location, it is not far away. It would go far in our war efforts here.
Could we not simply retake the location?
Certainly.
Do you foresee that we would have difficulty in holding it once my brothers and I had to move on to other tactical targets?
I am not a military man. I do not know, I suppose. I do not know what the current situation is. The captain told me days ago that it was overrun and they had no men to spare for it.
Varys looks over at Artaxian. Says, "What do you think, Brother Sergeant?"
I believe the more of these guardsmen that are wounded in battle that can be saved and returned to duty is a good thing.
It would seem to me that if they are able to hold the hospital, it provides us with a tactical resource, not merely the limited option provided by the supplies. But I would defer to your tactical expertise, Brother Sergeant.
The guardsman sergeant, she speaks up. She says, "My lords, not to interrupt, but we do have a problem. We only have 400 men total in under Captain Leonis's command. I do not know that we can spread ourselves so thin to hold a hospital."
Very well. Perhaps, unless you disagree, Brother Sergeant, I would suggest that perhaps we do claim the supplies for now and look to take the hospital when there are sufficient troops to hold it.
We will go there. We will retrieve the supplies. We will decide what defensive value, if any, this place has as both an area to treat the wounded and as a command and control center to continue the fight and rally more forces to those loyal to the Emperor.
And I can show you the map location.
Varys nods his head and says, "Compliance."
So you are. So if you scroll in, you see the cross there. That is where you are now, and the hospital is right here. So that's where the hospital is. You can click those, and it'll bring up journal entries just describing the area.
Very nice.
So that's where you are. You're at the thing, and then.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know what
Power grid damage.
1145 is yet?
Do you know what? Sorry?
On the map, you have 11.45. Do we know what that area is?
No, you do not know. Mm-mm. The only ones you know for sure are 8834 and 2206 and 4467 was where you were. That's where you just were.
Yeah.
2206. You're looking at 1145 is what you wanted. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
I know we did the
you
main
know that
arterial.
generally you know that that's the main exit out of the city on the southern gate. But what that would be other than that, you don't know.
All right.
You haven't had that intel yet come up.
We will assess the damage of the apothecary and retrieve the supplies, and then once reassessed, that mission is complete before moving on to our next objective. After that, we will decide what forces we can rally and increase the size of the resistance. I believe it also is important to see if there is a astropath facility nearby so we can send word for help if possible.
Yeah, the sergeant nods.
Ramaya looks at the sergeant. Sergeant, what can you tell me about these gangs?
This is a hive city, my lord. There are many gangs. As far as I know, there was several gangs attempting to swoop in and take as many supplies from the hospital, the apothecary, as possible. They can use those for themselves or sell them at an extreme markup to anyone who can pay. I do not know much about their inner dealings, as we are a military force, not a police force. The Adeptus Arbites could speak more to it if we could find any of them.
It would be good to know if there is one powerful gang. Like you said, you are only 400. But maybe it's time to muster up a militia.
Yes, we considered conscription, but we were so limited in supplies that we thought it would not be much use. But if the gang would help us, I suppose they are already armed and are fighters.
Very well. Let us see what the Emperor has in store for us. And maybe there's a gang leader who has a little more brains than brawn and sees the situation for what it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to do anything else here? Besides heal up for the next 24 hours?
Oh yeah, heal up for 24 hours for sure.
Forrest will, he doesn't have to be doing a lot of exercise in order to help them repair any equipment they have, and if there's any advanced equipment, particularly anything with a machine spirit, he will, he will offer to help with that.
Yeah, they have some, they have some minor equipment that you could help fix. Nothing particularly of that much interest as far as equipment goes, because it's all like field medicine, so there's not much here.
But also the soldiers who are guarding the place, right?
Oh yeah, they have just their normal weapons, las guns. There's nothing that is that big a deal. There's some weapons you fix, but as idle, you wouldn't be idle the entire time. You would just sit there and fix things as you found things to fix,
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll also see if I have a chance to do it, what I can find out about the state of the power grid leading to the hospital. Because, it's all connected to a central system.
Yeah. So there is no way to find out from here. You would have to probably approach it or find, some sort of, power terminal or something like that. You know from the schematics of the city where those are, and there is one on the way.
Okay, cool.
So the after unless you have anything that you want to specifically do besides get healed mechanically, the next day comes and it gets to be afternoon before everyone is you run your diagnostics on yourselves, and everyone is pretty much as healed up as they possibly can be and ready to go. Over the last 8 hours specifically, you've heard a lot of bombing throughout the city. It's not exactly clear where that is coming from, but the sergeant remains with you, as it is her job from the captain to escort you wherever you need to go. She does seem a little, you can just tell, perturbed that she's just sitting around not doing anything and not out like fighting or doing something active, but she remains with you to be your guide through the city as required.
I'll also have been using her to kind of go out to the soldiers and get them to bring in any advanced equipment that's damaged, etc. So she's not completely idle.
Yeah, you get a host of auto guns, las rifles, las pistols, flak armor, stuff like that, right? But yeah.
Yeah. Crappy Astra Militarum.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a flashlight. I mean, it's your weapon.
Yeah, right. You fix about 20 flashlights. She's waiting for you to give her the orders of where to go and when.
I do think at some point Vladric would, most of the time he would spend kind of keeping records of everything that they've done so far on the planet for the sake of the record on top of on the battle barge for the librarian. Um, but at some point he would go over to the sergeant. Sergeant, are you or the captain aware of any other guard regiments that are active? Loyalist, potentially, that you were in contact with. I know you said that you had 400 strong under the captain. Were there any others you were communicating with?
Well, the Legion was over 10,000 men, the 43rd, but where they are, some are not barracked here in the city. There are some on other parts of the planet. What has happened to them is unknown. There are other legions and other Astra Militarum installations throughout the sector, and specifically throughout this system. There are moons that are garrisoned, but we've not been able to contact anyone. What forces we have in the city, there should be quite a few, but how many turned traitor and how many that are left to us? The captain's obviously not the leader of the entire division of our legion of 1,000 strong, but our colonel has gone missing. If he is dead or alive, it is unknown, or if he has turned traitor. The 400 were the people that we could round up that we knew were going to side with us, or that had fled persecution from the traitors. I'm sure there are other loyalists out there, but where they are and what they are doing, I don't know. They could be hiding, they could be using guerrilla warfare. If we can find them, we can link up, but who they are and where they are, I have no idea.
Are you familiar with this colonel? Have you ever seen the man, met him? What is his character?
He would not be likely to turn traitor as far as I know. He's a legend in the 43rd. Started out as a private and worked his way up all the way through the ranks. Not born into power or wealth. His name is Colonel Vescus.
Vescus. Thank you, Sergeant. This has been an enlightening conversation.
It's my honor. If there is something that I know, I will certainly tell you. Ask any questions you wish.
You would not happen to know where the colonel is usually stationed or quartered in this city prior to all of this?
Typically the Tacticarum, my lord.
I believe that is in traitor hands, but perhaps guerrilla warfare. Yes. Thank you, Sergeant.
Of course.
Vladric will actually go to Varist at some point, knowing that Varist is quite gifted when it comes to tech and acquiring information. Brother Varist.
Brother Librarian?
When you have a moment, I understand there are other duties which must be attended, but your ability to gather information quickly has been of great value to us, and I believe there may be another opportunity for you here.
Of course, brother. And he finishes the work he's doing on the lasgun and hands it back to the soldier. I am at your disposal.
I have spoken with the sergeant, trying to better understand the landscape of this conflict that we have been thrust into. And I believe there may be someone of great value to our efforts in the city and on this planet. A colonel of the 43rd, hardline, loyalist, loyal to the Emperor, name of Colonel Vescus. I do not know what limitations there may be in trying to find this man amidst this chaos, but he may be useful in trying to better organize this loyalist group that remains, that we might face the enemy.
Absolutely, Chaplain. I will. As a sound tactical thought, I will do what I can to find him. As you say, the condition of this planet can best be described as chaos. There is considerable damage to the connections between cogitators on this world, and well, you do not need excuses, you need results. I will do my best. And can I have a go at that?
What are you trying to do specifically?
Locate Colonel Vescus.
How would you go about doing that? What
Look for any. So see if I can get into any military communications networks first of all, and listen for any current traffic. That'll be the. That's one of the best sources. If there is any actual kind of like ident being broadcast, that's even better. Probably not right now.
Yeah, go ahead and there is
I'll just look through records and just see where he's reported from, or where he's reported.
There is a cogitator in here.
Okay.
So you could use that to try a tech use, and I'll
Excellent.
give you.
Yeah, I'll Drovanidas hear him as he approaches it. Spirit of this machine, hear me and bow to my will in the name of the Emperor, in the name of the machine god.
And you do have a
in the
glory
name of the Omnis
want.
Slayer. Yeah. Does anyone mind if I spend that?
No, do it.
Go for it.
Hey, excellent. I'll spend the glory. And how do I modify the... I presume it's a tech roll.
Yep, it is a tech roll. It should, when you click it, it should ask you if there's any bonus dice or something along those lines.
Yeah, so I fill in what? One bonus
just one
dice on the dice pool?
Yep.
Okay.
So, DN3 is fine. So you could shift 3 times. Something unexpected happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so...
I'll get some glory if I can.
Yes, you can. You can get 3 if you would like.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. So, what you find is that all the military systems are in a kind of like a closed, hardwired system to themselves. So there's no way to actually connect to that network. I don't know what networks are in 40K called, but there's no way to connect to that from here. You would have to go to the Tacticarum and do it directly from that military installation. And then you might be able to find something, but it's hard to say. There's no reports of you do things like just like search the name. It's all there's nothing. You see old public honors that were given to him by the planetary governor, the actual sector governor and system governor. He's got a lot of awards and honors from fighting with the 43rd across the Imperium, really. And this was his last duty station, and you do see that he was set to retire in the next couple of weeks, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
He's going to die. Okay, great. So all of that I will be transmitting as I find out each piece. I'll just vet it, make sure it seems right, accurate, and then pass it on to the others.
Yep.
So it'll just be coming in as a kind of stream to all of you. Probably a little bit fast for most people, but for us it'll be fine. The information is incomplete. If we were to have access to the Tacticarium, then I would be able to get much more complete information. But this is what I have for now.
He kind of goes through it as it screeds through his heads-up display, and he looks at it and says, "Well done, brother. I believe we have the next few objectives identified."
And Varys nods. Did anything much come that complication, Tet? Maybe I should be in that.
Yeah, you don't know.
Oh no.
You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
You'll know soon.
Yep.
Yeah, so the sergeant, as kind of she as I had mentioned, she's eager. She says, "My lords, is it your will to go to the apothecary?"
It is.
I would happily lead you out of this inaction.
Inaction grates on you, as it does on all warriors. Yes, we will follow you.
Very well. And she takes you back out into the city. Whoops, I don't think that was what I wanted to do. I'm just going to use this one for now. So you head over to the what is essentially a hospital called Apothecary, typically here. And on the way, the sergeant tells you about Saint Victoria, who supposedly was one of the founders of this place. This place being Skullhaven Sprawl. She was a hospitaller of the Sisters of Battle, who came here after a massive battle against Xenos. It's not told what Xenos it was in the founding of this planet, and helped heal the sick and the dying and give them, their final rites and whatnot. And when they built this apothecary, they named it after her. And she gives you that kind of spiel to break up the monotony. She seems fairly confident that this area is not under any sort of major danger. She explains that there are snipers around this area that are loyal to them, that scout and watch. And this area is basically where they were falling back from off that thoroughfare, and so it was like their last line of retreat. But now that you've killed the traitors in the thoroughfare and the main highway south, they seem to have relaxed a little bit, and they're not particularly worried about the gangs coming up on their rear, because I don't think that they believe that the gangs want that fight, and you don't see any sign of that. As you get closer to the apothecary, you see smoke kind of billowing out of this giant, building with a statue of the God Emperor on top of it, and then a smaller statue of probably who is supposed to be Saint Victoria. You notice that, typically she has a bolter in one hand, and her other hand had something in it, but it's been blown to pieces her arm has, and the rubble is beneath it. The various other, parts of the building are also, a lot of it is essentially incinerated or destroyed. But your heads-up display does notice that there are people around, either in hiding or in the building itself.
Okay. So yeah, that and anything else I'm getting from my auger, I'll be passing on.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, you guys are big.
I'm basically a Twitch gamer for Warfare. I just live stream it to the rest of the
Yeah,
squad.
right.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Why is the chaplain looking at me that way?
The chaplain's your moderator.
Is this real? So just to wind back, what
Mhm.
you said there were people who were hiding out in and around the building, it looks like.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you
Not
do
guardsmen.
see that there's a small vehicle pulled up to one part of the part of the this building is absolutely huge, right? There's some that are more destroyed than others. There's some that are relatively in parts that are relatively in decent shape. But your augers and your helms let you see things that normal people wouldn't see, and you can see that there are heat signatures, human heat signatures walking about. Some that are taking, it appears they're loading stuff onto some sort of vehicle.
Not guardsmen.
No,
Right.
there's no
Okay.
guardsmen. You notice, well, you
Gotcha.
don't see them, but you don't expect that that's what it is. You don't see
Gotcha.
all of
Yeah.
them. You just see their heat signatures, right?
Did they seem to have seen us approach yet?
You think probably so. You're not exactly the most stealthy group.
Yeah, Vladrick will look to our taxi and Ramael. Do we converse with this gang? Could we make battle preparations? Or both?
We need to decide if they are retrieving supplies for their fellow gangers or whatever little block they control, or if they're looking to sell it for a profit or what that is. But they will quickly realize that those supplies belong to us, and they will either stand aside, join us, or be destroyed. If you want to position yourself in some sort of stealthy manner, I understand. I unfortunately am not capable of such a thing, but I believe I'd be able to withstand any sort of frontal assault, barring any surprises by them.
I do not believe we need to be stealthy, Brother Sergeant. I think that they should know our presence here.
Let fear travel before us like a wave.
Yes.
So you're probably, I don't know, 50 feet away from, where you consider being close to the building. And you do notice a figure that begins walking towards you. As it gets closer, you recognize that it is what you would consider an older child, 10, 11, 12 years old, perhaps. Um, it is missing a hand. That much is clear. It doesn't look like a new wound. There's an augmetic drilled into it. Looks like some sort of drill. Um, and he walks up and gives a wave very nervously with his good hand. My lords, I was sent to come and greet you from the Iron Fangs, the greatest gang of Skullhaven Sprawl. They wish no trouble with you.
Why are you taking these supplies?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger, a runner.
Very well, then you can run to the leader of this Iron Fangs. As we approach, we will speak with him.
He has asked me to invite you inside. He's inside the apothecary. Is that acceptable?
Very well. And our taxi just kind of starts marching towards the entrance.
Yeah,
He's not waiting for the kid.
He looks at Raymel and just looks away. He's very nervous. He feels kind of... let me show you. And
Stay by my side, says Varys.
me?
That way, if you have planned any treachery, I may crush your skull first.
No, of course not. No treachery for
Unless there is
lords.
anything you wish to tell us right now.
me. No. I know of nothing. What could we do against gods like yourself?
Correct. Remember that.
There is nothing you could do, but it does not mean you would not try.
I would not, my lords. I am simply a gutter rat.
Bladrick will just follow our taxi.
Yeah. Ramael, what have you been quiet? What's the chaplain thinking and doing?
Yes, Ramael has been quiet throughout. He seems to be lost in thought. He is present. He understands what is happening, but for once since they have landed on this planet, he is not himself. Something is heavy on his mind, and he seems to be distracted by it. The offer of the child kind of jars him from his inner thoughts, and he just stares back at the child. But what expression can a skull mask have?
Yeah.
And but he looks at the child, and he nods.
The kid says, my lords, I must admit, I have often dreamed of becoming an Astartes, especially when I was younger, living on the streets. You are heroes to us.
It is a noble path, but a difficult one to tread. I would encourage any who are capable and loyal. He pauses for just a second on that one. To submit themselves to the trials. There is no guarantee of success or even survival, but the pursuit itself is a noble one, and the Emperor smiles upon it.
Oh, well...
And Ramael kind of looks at the child, and path of an Astartes first starts here, and he points with his massive finger at the child's chest. Faith, little one, faith. Without it, you are just a husk, waiting for death.
Oh, that is interesting. I met an Astartes a few weeks ago, actually, not unlike yourself, and I asked him these same things, and he responded quite similarly.
Artaxian, hearing this, kind of stops in mid kind of plotting of the Terminator armor, turns, where did you see this person?
It was deeper into the hive, near my home. He was passing
Describe
by,
it.
tall like you. Armor was purple, I think. He scratches his head. He had a helmet on, like he looks at, well, none of you, but it was had a pointy thing on the front.
Did it
Yeah.
have the number 3 on the side on his pauldron? And he kind of points as best he can as to his own pauldron.
I do not recall. I'm sorry. He was
Child,
huh?
you will stay with us henceforth. We have much to discuss.
Okay. Do you know him? He was kind to me.
That kindness is false. Do not trust it.
Oh, what do you mean?
You will understand in time. This is not the place to discuss it. But you said that he, or it, said the same words as I.
Not exactly, but I told him my dream of becoming a Astartes, and he said that it faith in the true God.
Oh!
Brother, I won't blame you. I just want you to know. I wouldn't blame you.
Ramael, he just tightens his grip on his Crozius. Child, you will stay close by me. At no point, moving forward, will you leave my sight. If you wish to survive this evening, you will do exactly as I say.
Of course, yes. Sure, yes, my lord. Yes. My name is Tygo. What should I call you?
You may call me Chaplain.
Chaplain. Thank you, Chaplain. I will stay close. I'll try not to get out of your sight. And I'll help you if I can. But I do work for the Iron Fangs, so
Not anymore.
right, not anymore, but you might want to tell them.
Let us proceed, Brother Artaxian.
Yes, let us meet with this so-called leader. And then he kind of turns off his Vox grill and communicates directly to the other 3. He will take us to where they're potentially making their base. If he tells the truth, we will be able to possibly get the element of surprise.
Indeed. We need more allies in this fight. But only faithful allies.
Okay. So he takes you through the debris and then into the building. You walk down a hall. You're kind of cluttered, as the hall is not meant for Astartes. Your helmets almost buzz the ceiling. You probably could walk 2 by 2 down the hallway. He makes a couple turns, and in the wreckage, there's a few men standing about. One of them is dressed quite differently than the others, almost noble in his presentation, although it's dirt, laden with dirt from whatever's been going on around here. He's looking over some data pads as some equipment is being hauled out and the other way, and he turns and he, the sound of your armor alerts him. He turns and looks at Tygo and then up to you, and he says, "Ah, there they are, the angels from the void. I am Dominion. I am the leader of the Iron Fangs. Welcome to Skullhaven Sprawl." What may I do for
And
you?
the Dominion, you say? We are the Blood Dragons, in search for heretics. And seems we have come to the right planet.
Yes, there are traitors amongst the military. You did not come with the ones from so many months ago, then? The ones that appear to be working with the traitors. I know my histories and I know my lores. There are traitors amongst your kind, is there not?
And Ramael, with great difficulty. Mm, Yes, there are.
Well, I'm glad I have never seen one of those then. As I said, what can I do for you? I do not know anything about them. I could possibly point out where some of the traitor soldiers are that I've come across or expect they are, but I really don't know much.
I feel like he's lying.
You could roll in. This is like an insight. What is it? Yeah,
Probably
insight.
insight.
That's it.
Not very good, but
That's the
I'll do
ticket.
it. I'll do it.
While while Vladrik is doing that, Ramael continues. You say you know your lores and your history. You seem to be a man of the world. Are you not, Deminonon?
I once was. I'm not native to this hive, this accursed planet that I am now stuck on.
In your experience, knowledge, what do you think the course of a planet like Skullhaven is? Once heretics have been sighted upon it. Once there's an insurgency. What do you think a planet like Skullhaven's future is?
Well, I do not know, but there are many possible outlets. I am sure that the Empire, the Imperium, will attempt to clean up the mess.
Clean up indeed.
And that is why you are here, I assume.
We are merely an expeditionary force in search of something. But the cleanup you speak of You know it can take many forms, do you not?
I have heard of such things. A total eradication of the population. Never seen it, never first-hand or even second-hand, but we've heard of the rumors. Is that what you suggest?
The governor of this planet, a spineless weasel, a whelp of a man, had joined forces with the ruinous powers. He has been dealt with. This planet has now no leader, nobody in charge. What do you think is going to happen to such a planet?
I would assume a new governor will be installed? Eventually, when the traitors have been dealt with?
And who will deal with the traitors, pray tell me, Deminanon? Do you think the Inquisition will come in their hordes?
I think
What is the worth of your planet, since you are a man of commerce and knowledge?
Well, it is a hive city. But outside of the hive, there are many mines. They mine a single ore, which is used, I believe, in void ships. The details I do not know.
Well, let me clarify a few things for you. To begin with, it is not a rumor. A complete extermination of a planet has been done, will be done, and in this case, might be done. The choice in front of you is quite simple. You can continue to serve your own self-interests and look to petty dealings of your own gang. Or a leader like you could rise up and lead the people of this planet and give it hope. And maybe when the Inquisition comes, save your soul and those of your fellow man from the fires of exterminatus. It matters to us not. But it is coming. Our reports will ensure it is coming. For demons have been dealt with on this planet, and once that has happened, there is almost always no going back.
Demons?
Yes. The ruinous powers have made landfall on this planet.
Well, I mean, becoming the governor of this planet isn't exactly what I would consider in my career path, but heck, what is the... It can't be that bad. As long as you don't fall in with these ruinous powers you speak of, huh? The money must be good.
I cannot speak about the commerce of being a governor. But to be a governor, first we must defeat the forces of the heretics. If you do survive that, and your people believe in you, then maybe, and if the God Emperor wishes it, then certainly.
Well, a good way to curry favor with the people is to give them medical supplies that they might need, food rations that they no longer have, How many people will starve? How many people will die of disease before this is all done? But if Demenanon comes to the rescue, well, a governor? Ha! Perhaps that would do and well. Loved by the people. Their hero.
You can begin with assisting the Militarum. Share resources. Create a militia. Organize attacks. Push back the heretic.
I am not opposed to such things, but my men have been severely compromised. We have lost much to take this facility. Rimbaud Enterprises, those evil bastards, fought us tooth and nail for this place.
Who are they?
They are another organization, such as mine, the Iron Fangs. They keep to typically outside the city, on the south wall. They are led by an assassin, Delaque. He is, well, if you ask me, anyone that would deal with him, he is likely the source of all your miseries. These demons you speak of. He's an evil man.
By all means, keep the apothecary. No, not apothecary. What did you say? Medicate. Medicate. Right here.
It's apothecary.
Keep the
They're calling it
Medicate.
apothecary.
Apothecary, yeah.
Yep.
Keep the apothecary. But share your resources. We do not wish to take it from you. You earn what you have fought for. But let the resources of the apothecary be shared with those who are in need, whether they be Militarum, the members of your gang, or the civilian population. That would be a show of faith. And everything starts with faith, Demenanon.
I believe I could arrange such a thing.
I will caution you, though, Demonanon. If you seek to use this as a sword against your enemies, and those enemies are not, in fact, the enemies of the Imperium, then you will find we are a sword that turns in your hand.
I can only tell you what I know. I am not as enlightened as such angels as yourself, such lords from the void. Yes, I am more than a gang member here, living in this hive for all of my life, but what happens in these clandestine wars that you fight, well, I do not know. I can only tell you what I suspect. And if you are speaking of Rimbaud himself, then all I know is the things he does and the company he keeps. If there is someone that is a traitor, that is an evil man, more than just murder, more than thievery, butchery, I would say it is him.
Tell us more of what you have seen and tell us particularly of that of which you have proof, rather than that which you suspect.
What can I prove to you with my own eyes and ears? Do you wish a picked recording of his deeds?
If you have such a thing.
Of course
and
I
if
do
not,
not.
An account from your own eyes will suffice for now.
Ah, yes. I have seen him torture men. For pleasure. I have seen him speak to strange ones. And if you are not those who came from the void months ago, then I think he has been in their company. One of their, I believe they're called Thunderhawks, landed near his base of operations on the south wall.
I see. This is more concrete.
It is all I know, unfortunately, at least in the recent dealings and troubles of this world. I would be wary, even with your strength. He has killed many, and most think him immortal. A jest, certainly, compared to your might.
Bladrick he's been following this conversation, and something crosses his mind that the kid's name who was been
Tygo.
brought with us, Tygo, yeah. He looks at Tygo, looks at Demenon. I have a quandary, Demenon, a question for you.
Yes?
This boy that you bid to bring us to speak with you, how long has he worked with the Iron Fangs?
I believe we scooped him up, what was it, 9 months ago, boy? Yes, my lord.
Hmm. And you have not had any dealings with our traitors, have you?
Me? No.
I see. This boy spoke with one, he told us. That you have nothing to do with, I assume.
Tygo says, yes, I did. I saw them. I was spying. They were walking down the street and I became curious. They killed some soldiers and he kind of shrugs. Demenon he looks dumbfounded like he has no idea what you're talking about.
I want to see if he's telling the truth, but I suck at it. I'm not good, fuck.
You do have 3 glory.
Yeah, I'm thinking about spending 2.
But Demenon, he kind of, he's perplexed by this conversation. It just says, yes, I will, we have excavated many things from this place in the last few days. Our work continues as the apothecary is damaged heavily, and getting some supplies is impossible or very difficult without the right kind of equipment. Regardless, I'd be happy to share what we find with the loyalist troops, of course, and yourself if you need anything. He kind of looks back to Vladerick, wondering where this line of conversation is going to go.
Out of character, I feel. I just want to make sure he's not
You're
playing
talking
both
about
sides.
Demenon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of character, I
Mhm.
feel like, to me, it's like this kid sees them and interacts with them. They might have been here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you guys care if I try it and spend the glory?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Yeah, those are use it or
Good
lose
idea.
it types of things anyway, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll roll. I don't think I'm gonna pass it with. I mean, I can't pass the insight without the glory, but I have to roll first by raw. So I would have to spend all 3.
Well, you could get a 6. That would be 2, right?
Yeah. I'll spend it.
Okay.
I'll spend it. And it's 3d6.
Mm-hmm. That looks like a failure.
Oh boy.
It's complications, yeah.
Well, yeah, no.
Not wrath. Actually, no, there wouldn't be any wrath complications. But anyway,
Nope.
yeah. I mean, you don't know. It's just you don't know his character. You don't know any. He's a gang leader, so that doesn't really give you much confidence in him. Tygo speaks up. I never told you, Dememinon. It was one of them. I saw him in the streets and when I was spying. And yes, he just kind of shrugs. He's a bad one. He looks to Ramiel nods. These are the good ones. The loyal ones. I'm going to be one of them one day.
Bladrick looks to Ramon or Taxi and so do we proceed then?
This is all happening on the the inner walks, right? The inner walks network that the 4 of us share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and anybody outside of us will only hear like clicks and like.
Yeah,
Why aren't they speaking?
Yeah, but they're just like talking to each other, and all they hear is clicks. So.
Artaxian first leans to the boy, who for the second time talks about wanting to be a space marine, and kind of looks, and he does say aloud, he goes, I started my life as a ganger, and I completed the trials around your age. Of course, I had 2 hands, but anything is possible.
Well, Dememinon said he would buy me a new hand when I served him long enough. There's augmetics for that, I think.
Bet there are.
And then he kind of doesn't answer him. He just cuts off the Vox and goes back to the internal comms. And I believe we are wasting time negotiating with this fool. But if he will give the supplies needed to our Medicaid so they can get the soldiers back on their feet, and if they're willing to assist us, if we take care of their problem, I believe we should take care of this person, especially if he's being truthful that they interacted with the archenemy several weeks ago.
I agree. In a place like this, it is hard to say who is loyal and not. But for now, this Timananon does not attack us and is willing to share. That in itself is a small victory. And if he does turn traitor, then he will meet the same fate as all of them. And then Ramael kind of turns his external walks. Mm-hmm. Oh, very well, Demananon. Keep the apothecary, but share the supplies with the Militarum. Come to their aid. Come to the aid of the people.
If you wish the Iron Fang's aid, you have it. Especially if you want us to help you take out Rimbro. Delaque Rimbro. And he has a data slate and he kind of fiddles with it for a second and steps up to Varust and just hands it over. And you see that there's a location pinned on the map of he's showing you exactly where they are, and it is, if you look at the Skullhaven Sprawl map, it is the 2206.
Excellent. So, seeing as he's done me the courtesy of handing me his data slate, I'm hacking it. So
Sure.
I'm going to talk to the machine spirit of the data slate and turn it to my will and see what I can find out about what this guy's been up to, and see if I can find out anything about whether there's any evidence to either confirm or refute what he's been saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll obviously accept what he's saying and say, yeah, and say, I have the location. But it will only take me a very short time with our reflexes to actually commune with that data spirit and get some.
Yeah, I would just give you an auto success. It's just a normal data slate. Unless you want to roll. You can roll just to generate glory and see if you can.
No,
It's up to you.
let's try. Yeah, let's try. May as well. Tech.
Yeah, that's 4 glory. Yeah, so you see on there, there's a, it's doesn't appear to be his personal data slate necessarily. There's not only that, there's several he has an inventory on there of various things they've collected. So basically you can download the inventory of what they have here that they've salvaged, quote unquote. But there's nothing personal about him on there.
Okay, and I'll send what they have through to the field hospital and say expected supplies, and I'll leave that communication open to the rest of the squad. And I'll hand him back the data slate.
We will be here. It will take us at least another week to excavate this building.
Very well.
What did we learn about Vescus?
You didn't learn anything because you need to get to the Tacticarum to... Well, let me back up. You didn't learn anything about his current situation because you need... the Tacticarum is on a closed network, so you need to get to the Tacticarum to find any of that information out, if there is any there.
And then where is the Tacticarum on the map again?
It is... Let me bring it up. Actually, you don't know. It's not come through. The cogitators have not finished yet. It'll be on here though. It's probably going to be 0189.
Okay.
Negative, yeah, negative 0189, or it'll be just outside the city. I haven't decided where to put it yet. Is the truth of the matter. It's going to be it's a big military installation, essentially.
Okay.
And when it comes back through Varust's calculations, right? He's making internal calculations to where everything is, and it's likely held by the traders, the Tacticarum itself. So basically, to breach it, it's going to be a big fight to get in there. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep. So he kind of looks back to Demenanon and he says, "What can you tell us about a Colonel Vescus? Have you had dealings with him?"
Vasquez, no, I haven't. Everyone knows who he is. He's a legend around here. Think he grew up poor, rose through the ranks, and became the colonel of the 43rd Legion.
You say he grew up around here. Where would here be exactly?
In the Hive, don't know more than that. Sorry. I'm not from here. If he looks to Tygo and he doesn't respond, he looks to his gangers. They kind of shrug.
Very well. The child Tygo will accompany us henceforth.
Ah, yes, he's yours. Tygo says, I'm going to be a space marine, Dememinon. Dememinon just nods. Ah, yes, nice, lovely.
Nice.
I will, once we are done finishing packing up our transport, I'll take some of the supplies to wherever you want me to take them. Where would you like me to take them for the Astra Militarum?
To the field hospital, and I'll give him a location.
Ah, yes, very well. Didn't realize they were there. I can take that over to them. Not far.
Yeah, and I'll send them a message, just kind of text to say that to expect them.
Yeah, the sergeant is outside waiting, but yeah.
Kind of like he seems genuine, but just be wary. Don't trust him completely.
Well, I have lots of work to do. If there's anything you need, you know where to find me.
That we do.
He just kind of waits for you guys to go.
Yeah, well, should we head off and kill this other guy?
Yeah, you can just
Works
let
for
me.
me.
Yeah, you can. Is that what you're planning on doing? Because we'll just do that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna take
Yep.
Tyga with you? Gonna take any of the Astra Militarum? So the way I want to do it is, actually you have faction relations, and I'm gonna keep those basically a private log of how they feel about you, and I'll come up with like what you know about them, who they are, that sort of thing, and put a journal for it. Obviously, you can ask favors of these people. Like, if you want the Astra Militarum, you could get soldiers to come with you if you want. That sort of thing. You could, like he offered Iron Fang's gangers, you could bring some of them along with you for that at least, and various things. So keep that in mind. You don't have to decide right now, but
It's not a bad idea. What do you guys think?
I guess the question is, how big is this gang that we're gonna face? I'm sure we can get those details like off screen, but
yeah.
get the size of the gang, and that will help determine how much help we need, if
I
any.
think
Yeah.
I think a small crew of guard operating a certain vehicle that was procured will probably be enough.
Yeah,
assistance.
getting them to give up one of their tanks to go fight a gang outside the wall. That might be difficult.
We
In
don't.
exchange for medical supplies and a militia.
It's a ganger. We don't need them. All we need is the four of us.
That's what I think too.
It's possibly true. He's immortal though, and that's what he said. Delicu Rimbro, he's immortal.
That's what the
Only because
Necron
he
said.
hasn't met us.
We will see. Yep. Anything else you guys want to roleplay or do before we end it?
I think you just kind of see Artaxian kind of, after speaking with his brothers, kind of slowly marching in the direction that they need to go, unless they're going to find some sort of skid loader or something, or flatbed he can stand on awkwardly.
The tank on a tank.
Exactly.
Yeah, you leave the ruins of Saint Victoria's Apothecary behind, and head to your next encounter with Tygo, walking along the way, and Tygo asking literally dozens and dozens of questions about being a Astartes, and he sticks very close to Remiel with his little drill hand. That's it.
Love it. Go, little buddy.
Worth a
Kid's gonna fucking
sidekick.
die.
Collected.
That kid's gonna die.
I was going to say, Artaxian is actually going to be nice to him until he's like, oh yeah, I talked to the Emperor's children. Then he's like, maybe I should just crush his skull.
They told me that there's one God too.
And she wanted me to do some weird stuff.
Yeah. I didn't like it, but
The gears were turning.
I'm not usually a fan of
I think-
hooves.
I think that.
Oh.
I think it took a lot for